I think that that's a big thing that I encountered a lot with nonprofits is like, oh, I don't want to say that we did this, or I don't want to say that we did that. It's like, no, that's what you need to say so that people know this is a place that can deliver on what they're saying they're going to do, and a valuable place for capital funds to go into.
Hey, this is Nick Armstrong, and you are watching the Founded in FoCo podcast. Every episode, we get a chance to talk to somebody in our innovative, creative, freelancer, small business, nonprofit community. And today, we've got two amazing people from our nonprofit track, Maya and Alex. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Tell us about Trout Tank, which is premiering this year at Founded in FoCo after having such an amazing reception out in the general community for the first ever Trout Tank that there ever was at the Lyric, and now we're bringing it here. Tell us about what we can expect.
Thank you for asking. Trout Tank was created after a lot of conversations with nonprofits and noticing their challenges around funding, but also how some of the values and expertise in the for-profit community could really be enhanced with nonprofits. So the concept of Trout Tank is just like Shark Tank, which everybody has probably seen, but it has a charitable twist. So instead of people pitching on stage for their company, they're instead nonprofits pitching on stage live in front of investors and donors for cash donations.
So this is a passion project for you. It's not normally part of your 9-to-5 job, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I think I was really interested in helping solve some problems for nonprofits because I noticed working with them how much they struggled and also how incredible they are and how wonderful their efforts are in our community and how much they struggle with bragging about what they do well and being able to showcase that and actually attract new information and new donors. So this was really it created because I loved some of the people that we were working with, and I wanted them to do better, and be known more in our community for their incredible work.
The first Trout Tank that premiered at the Lyric. Tell me about that. What is the history? How did that come together, and what did it look like?
The first Trout Tank, like I said, it was an idea I had. I was working with Alex on some other aspects of it. And it was a labor of love for sure because it had never been done before. The concept is familiar because it's Shark Tank related, but it's still kind of foreign to have it be in this format for nonprofits. So we were able to recruit some people just through business connections who were interested in being trouts and donating, and all of whom were very excellent and had excellent questions to offer to everyone, really, because it became kind of a master class in pitching and whether you're for profit or nonprofit, what people are looking for when they're asking, what are you going to do with my money? So it was a really fun event, and I think that it was exciting for even people just in attendance, and it's very warm-hearted, and I think that that goes a long way, especially these days when it feels heavy, to have something that is really community-oriented and really community building in such a direct way.
And Alex, you're no stranger to nonprofit work yourself.
Yeah, Nick, I actually founded a company called Arula, and what we do is grant writing and just general fundraising for nonprofits here in Northern Colorado. So our kind of niche is that we don't take our full fee at the time of submittal. We take our fee when the grant's awarded to the nonprofit. But because of that, especially that fee model, we've been introduced to a bunch of the different nonprofits here in town, and especially a lot of the smaller nonprofits. And to Maya's point, it's really a great event, Trout Tank, for the smaller nonprofits because a lot of times these are just, a founder, maybe a board chair, just someone kind of working by themselves. And they haven't really had a chance to go out there and to really pitch, to be on stage and to describe their nonprofit in this kind of this environment that's not really a typical thing that you run into your 9-to-5 job. So having this ability here for us to not only give them that opportunity to give them that feedback, but also to reward them with some cash finances that are going to be for general operating, something they can really use for the good of their nonprofit. It's really something that just it resonates with us and makes us really excited about this event.
There's two different audiences for this. There's obviously the attendees. Can the attendees feed in as trouts?
Yeah, we would love that. So right now, if you go to the Founded in FoCo website, look at the schedule, you can see the page that we have for Trout Tank. It's going to be Wednesday evening. There is a link right on there for anyone who wants to become a nonprofit in the pitch. But if anybody's interested in becoming a trout, we would ask you just reach out directly to Maya or myself. I will make sure our information's on there so we can have that email ability for you to reach out. But we'd love to have other trouts out there. We're talking people from the communities. So whether you're a business owner, part of a foundation, or just someone who wants to be involved, we'd love to have you there. And by being involved, you not only get to come to the event, you get to watch all the presentations, but you get to decide where your money goes. So at the end of the night, we might have 5 different nonprofits that have gone up there. Each one of them have pitched. They've talked about either an event or a program that really means a lot to them that they want to see succeed in 2025. Well, then it's up to you to decide which one of these programs, which one of these events really is worth funding and is going to get the funds that you brought to the event.
How would a nonprofit know if they are a good fit for Trout Tank and why they should apply?
So we don't really have too many limitations. The only thing that we really are trying to avoid is anyone that's overly religiously or politically affiliated. We're trying to keep it just 501(c)(3)s. We don't necessarily have a geographical barrier for applying, but I will say that the local nonprofits are the ones that we're looking for. Those are the ones that are going to be able to come to the event, be able to explain the program and explain what it is that they're doing for Northern Colorado. So I would say if you're a Northern Colorado nonprofit and you're just doing something great in the community and you have an initiative coming up, whether it's a program or an event, just something that you could use some extra finances for, we'd love to have you apply. The application has been made very, very easy because as a grant writer, I know how arduous it can be to apply for grant after grant and how it can take so much of your time. So we try to make it as easy and straightforward as possible. So please, I would say just take the time to do the application online. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and have a conversation directly, but we'd love to hear from you.
And in terms of audience, you don't just want nonprofit fanatics in the room or nonprofit workers. You want freelancers, creative small business owners, medium-sized business employees here in the audience, right?
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that I love about the first Trout Tank, like I said, was it really did become a masterclass in pitching. And no matter what business you're a part of, and even really what role you play in your business, there's a huge value in understanding how to tell a story, how to tell the story of your company, and why other people should care about that, and what they can do about that emotion that you elicit from them. So it's also a really fun, wonderful night to spend with people, and hopefully an alternative type of event that most people are used to. It's not your typical gala. It's not a business dinner. So it's a little bit different, and it's fun.
True to form, it is also brand new to Founded in FoCo. Every year we do something that seems to evolve the event, and the nonprofit track has been around. I think this is the third or fourth year that this has been around. Alex, can you talk about what you're looking forward to in terms of the nonprofit track and what session highlights you might have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say I'm personally involved in obviously Trout Tank. I also just met with Elizabeth Martin today as well, and we talked about doing our speed dating for cross-sector collaboration for nonprofits. So what that basically means that if you're in one sector like human services, we're going to be pairing you up with people from wildlife and environment, other sectors, so that way you can not only have a conversation and learn what they're doing, but find ways that you can work together as well to bolster both your organizations up. And then we also going to be having a lot of different presentations on things like DEI, grant writing, just a lot of different elements of building a nonprofit from basically the 101 all the way up to the 301 kind of tracks. So whether you are a seasoned nonprofit professional or you're just trying to get things off the ground right now and getting your 501(c)(3), we're going to have a presentation there or a workshop that's going to be able to help you with that.
The thing that I get so excited about is that you have so many different types of entities all together in one place, and that there's now so much learning for the nonprofit side that it doesn't all fit into one day anymore. It's actually spilled out into multiple days, which is fantastic, and it gives all the nonprofits that much more ability to network, find resources in the community, find new volunteers, donors, board members, you name it. It's a great opportunity for nonprofits across the board. Now, we also this year are leveraging a pay what you can ticket model. So even if your nonprofit, if you are the board and the executive director and the only employee, that's fine. You don't need to spend your entire budget to come into this event. You can pay what you can, which also means $0 if that's what you have to contribute. That's just fine. We want to see you in the room. Who are you hoping shows up? You heard Elizabeth Martin from the Museum of Art. Who are some of the other folks that are helping advise the nonprofit team, and who are you hoping to see in the room?
So we have a good team right now. The nonprofit track is led by Kim Fisher, who's going to be teaching one of the earlier sessions on Tuesday about basically starting your nonprofit. So if you have to build your 501(c)(3), she's going to be there with some pointers on that. And we have some really good people, seasoned nonprofit professionals who are involved already, who I really hope to see. And I think, kind of to your point, Nick, but by combining the nonprofit track into the other tracks and have it both be Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see a lot more business people involved. And this kind of is like the where Trout Tank is going to be really great for being the Wednesday night kind of finishing activity of the day, is that not only will it be the day of nonprofit professionals there, we're going to have a lot of business people in the audience, people who may have never heard of these nonprofits before, but they want to get involved, whether it's through volunteering or donations or even just advice. I really want to see more of like bringing these two different groups together. And then just general people from the community as well, is because frankly, nonprofits need to be better at telling their story. They need to be better about getting the word out there, and we want to be there to provide this platform for them to do so. So any kind of connections we can make, any kind of people we can bring into the fold that otherwise wouldn't have been, I'm really excited about that.
Maya, what are you most excited for in terms of like this is a really interesting first year combinatory effort between Fountain and FoCo and Trout Tank. What are you excited for in the future to see it? What do you want to see it grow into?
Yeah, I think it's a really great partnership because I think that Founded in FoCo obviously has an established relationship with so many nonprofits and so many for-profit businesses, and this will help kind of like solidify more of a natural interconnection between those two groups. And I'm hoping that what we're able to do is obviously put on a good show, but also connect with more nonprofits and connect with more business owners. I think like one of the values with being a business owner who becomes a Trout is that you get a lot of recognition just by being there. You're able to offer your insight and wisdom and your expertise to other people, and people get to see you do that. And people are much more likely to go to your business if that's how you behave in the community. So the overall emphasis is, of course, like community engagement and development. And I think that this is a really good bridge for all the goals for those involved.
If you had one word of advice for a nonprofit who is learning to pitch for the first time, what would you tell them?
I would say my best advice for a nonprofit or business or anyone learning to pitch is to be extremely cognizant of your visuals. So if you go up there with a PowerPoint, which maybe not is not for anybody anyways, but for everybody, if you go up there with a PowerPoint, don't have it be overly cluttered with words. Have it be filled with visuals and have your actual voice do the talking. You don't want the audience to be reading that PowerPoint. You don't want them to be ignoring you. You want the attention on you, the speaker, the whole time, whether it makes you comfortable or not. That's what you really want to have at the end of that.
Yeah, and just to clarify, there are no digital PowerPoints allowed at Trout Tank. We won't be doing any of that. You can be creative about how you pitch things, but there will not be PowerPoints. And my advice would be to practice and to get input, practice in front of a couple of different people who maybe aren't, your go-tos, that maybe they aren't your coworkers. Maybe you pitch to one coworker and then you pitch to a neighbor or, somebody else. That way you can kind of get an overall perspective of how it feels for them to receive the pitch. Because as much as it is about, you giving information, it's all about eliciting a feeling and a motivation in somebody else. So you have to understand your audience and really be willing to put yourself in their shoes as well. So it's a tricky thing to do. Pitching is tough, but it gets better over time, and it's an invaluable skill. And if you can have a little bit of fun with it, I would say that is helpful also.
Those social media tools can be helpful with this, I think, like the Reels and TikTok and all of those where you have to, 90 seconds in a TikTok is an eternity. So if you can make somebody feel something in 90 seconds, you've done a really good job. And having spoken at Ignite, where you get 5 minutes and 20 slides and 15 seconds per slide. Being able to, lean on those slides sometimes is really helpful endeavor. But I love the approach of, don't talk at us or hide behind your slides. Tell us why we should care and make us feel something. It's really heartening. And something that the nonprofits are already good at through their existing mission and work.
Yeah, I think it's actually really natural how close the stories are for the nonprofits. It's just really about how do you share it? How do you tell that story in a way that also compels action and not feeling guilty about what you have accomplished. That's the point of what you're doing. And I think that that's a big thing that I encountered a lot with nonprofits is like, oh, I don't want to say that we did this or I don't want to say that we did that. It's like, no, that's what you need to say so that people know this is a place that can deliver on what they're saying they're going to do and a valuable place for capital funds to go into.
Someone listening out there right now, what is the best way to support a nonprofit that they care about?
I would say that, I mean, the universal answer is always funding. That's too easy, right? Every nonprofit needs funding. But I would honestly say that rather than giving some sort of like overarching advice for every nonprofit out there, have a conversation. Just reach out to them, whether it's a phone call, come to their facility, wherever it might be, an event, and just ask them what it is they need because every nonprofit's different. And depending not only the organization, but where they are in their life cycle, where they are in their year, the answer might very much vary. So if you just ask them and just be prepared to have a conversation, be ready to and willing to try to help out wherever you can, that's going to be way more valuable than telling them how to spend your money or how to use your donation or whatever it might be.
And how do folks find nonprofits out there? Like if they care about animal rescue, how do you find a reliable and valuable nonprofit?
Well, Nick, I found it in FoCo on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's going to be a whole bunch of nonprofits in the room, so come to Trout Tank. But besides that, though, I mean, there's a few different like consortiums in the area. I mean, there's nonprofit collectives. There's a lot of different groups and organizations that really kind of bind nonprofits together. I would say too, with Arula, my company, we have dozens of nonprofits we work with on an ongoing basis, and we have even more than we know about in the community. So if anybody just wants an easy conversation about that to learn more about the organizations in the area, I'm always happy to grab a tea and have a conversation as well.
What is a nonprofit that is maybe not well known in the community, but is near and dear to each of your hearts?
I would say for me, it's actually one that Alex does work with, but Friends of Lakota, they do horse rescue. And the couple that started it, one of them adopted a special needs horse at a young age. Like he was a young man when he did it, and then he has continued to rescue horses and some other farm animals, like donkeys and things like that, so that those horses can not go to slaughter. So it's a really great people, a really incredible goal that's very like kind of niche a little bit because large animal rescue is really tough and they work very hard, and they've really been working on expanding everything and they've been doing a great job with that. So I just really like them and I really like horses. So I just want them to have everything they want in the world.
I was actually wearing my Friends of Lakota sweatshirt right up until I put on this fancy shirt. So I'm with you on that. Um, I'll add to it too that I run an event that's actually its own separate nonprofit as well called Fort Collins Top Dog. And this is a really fun one. I've been involved with so many events throughout my life. And this is by far the most fun one I put on because what it is basically people fundraise all summer by making a profile for their dog. And it's on our website, focotopdog.com or org. I can't remember, but you make a profile for your dog. And then basically on August 31st, we have the top 16 fundraisers. They get notified that's going to be an event in Odell and in September. And we just have a bunch of goofy games like poop bag toss or the mutt strut where you and your dog dress up on stage. And we have all these events to eliminate the field from 16 to one dog. And that dog actually, Odell will brew a beer called the Fort Collins Top Dog Beer. And then your dog's face will be on that can label. So it's a really cool way to get your dog personified on a can of Odell to be remembered forever and ever. And all the funds go to different charities in the community.
I am so thrilled that y'all are on our team this year and helping with such great events. And the nonprofit track is just chugging right along with so many great resources for folks in our community. Is there any last words of wisdom or advice that you have for a listener out there?
Just come to Trout Tank and see.
Yeah, I would say check out Trout Tank, check out all the different programs that are going to be at Founded in FoCo. When you look at the schedule, the cool thing is you might go in there with that nonprofit mindset, and you start looking, you realize there's something in the creative track that really resonates with you. There's something in the builders track. And that's what happened to me as I was looking at the schedule. And all of a sudden, before I knew, I had a full list of things I was signing up for that weren't even close to related to my field, but interesting or necessary for me. So take some time, peruse that schedule, and see what really speaks to you.
It is so much fun to build out your schedule, and you can do that now at foundedinfoco.com. And you can get your tickets there. You can go to foundedinfoco.com/schedule and foundedinfoco.com/tickets and get your ticket, get your schedule, get lined up, and figure out where you want to attend. And we've heard from other folks on this podcast before to be curious with your selections and go wide at first, because you never know what might pique your interest. And the folks you might end up in the room with might be the next great thing for you or your nonprofit. So we're excited to see you there. And as I mentioned earlier, pay what you can. Tickets are also available, so you don't have to put anything in order to attend this great event. We just want to see you there and be part of our community. Foundedinfoco.com and March 10th through 13th at the Fort Collins Senior Center is when everything is happening. And we cannot wait to see you there. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is a Founded in FoCo podcast. For more great interviews like this one, join us at foundedinfoco.com.